Hello, friends. I am with a very delightful friend of mine, Denise Wilkiki. Hey, Denise.
Hi, good afternoon.
Good to see you, sweetie. And everybody that joins us, you're so welcome. We meet every week, and our purpose is to discover ways together to help each other discover how to live our fullest lives, given we are trauma survivors and given that affects our brains.
It
And
affects our
Denise,
bodies also.
yeah, Denise is right in the middle of this. And so what we're going to talk about is what happens when we're back in a situation that reminds us so much of the lack of safety, the lack of protection, the lack of being able
Control.
to put up boundaries that are respected. Denise will talk all about this, but what happens when that comes up again? And we're adults. How can we feel it? Because I can't pretend it's not happening. I have to feel it. And then when I feel it, how can I from there not be pulled down by it? So that's what we're going to talk about. But before we do that, we always like to share with you. Thank you. A toast. A
You become,
toast.
if you become triggered by the words that we share with you, please have water next to you. It is healing and helpful to drink water.
And drinking water also helps me breathe because often trauma survivors like me, we hold our breath. It's remarkable the number of people that hold their breath. Have you discovered yourself doing that?
I don't really feel that, but I just get my stomach is what, I can't eat. I have no desire. I'm I haven't been triggered like this in years. So I'm just really, maybe it's a good thing because I'm learning how, how heavily a trigger can affect.
Well, you know what, sweetheart? We'll make it a good thing and we won't pretend it's not a bad thing at the same time. It's a tough thing, it's a horrible thing. And yet we can turn it into something that helps you and helps everybody else. The other thing we want to say before we get started is we want to put up and offer you boundaries, our listeners, so that if you start to feel like Denise feels right now, or I've felt when I get triggered, it's okay. And yet, if it really gets so pressuring that you feel like, I gotta go, I gotta go, this is too much for me to face, and I'm alone. You don't have to be alone. And Denise can tell you how to go online and find the warm line, not a hotline, but the warm line for trauma survivors. And we can use that anytime. You can use it anytime. So, Denise, can you help people with that?
Yeah, you just to open your Google search bar and ask for trauma survivor helpline. And there are people there that, understand, they know what triggers are, and they can talk with you.
In some cases, in some states, they're different in every state. In some states, you can text. So if you're in the middle of a date or you're in the middle of a family dinner and things are going wrong, you can just text. So what if somebody yells at you? You can just say, I'm a mess. I can't help myself right now. Um, and like Denise said, you'll find people that will listen to you. They won't judge you. They know what it's like. And that's kind of why we put this program together, because we know what it's like to have had our brains affected at an early age. Shut down, shut up, don't talk, all those things. And it's not the way to live,
No.
not the way to live. So if you're ready, I'd like to ask Denise about what happened and what did it trigger in you that took you back to the same old, oh my God, I'm not safe at all place.
Well, what happened was I tried to sign into my Facebook account and it was unavailable. And
Did it say unavailable? What did it say?
it did it. I, I can't even remember. I can't think
Okay.
straight
It's
either.
okay.
That's part of
That's
it.
part of it.
And it, I forget what it said. It actually sent me to a a Facebook that I used in when I lived in Phoenix, which
Wow,
was
that's like 7 years ago.
it's 11 years ago. It was DM Rokiki because I had that separate and before I had a page on Positively Portable Preschool. So I had a separate Facebook just to do the Positively Portable Preschool. But I
Okay.
haven't used that in 11 years. And it was blocked like maybe 5 years ago. It was just blocked. I don't know why, but I was able to unblock that one, but I could
Okay.
not get to my other one, my
Well,
real one.
all of your updated, all your friends, all the ways you stay in touch,
Yeah, I
all that
have
was blocked.
960 friends. I am on Facebook, I wake up and turn on Facebook and wish everybody a happy birthday every day. And I, go to a couple places where I read things every day. And I couldn't get there. And so then I was able to open up that DM Rokiki one. And so then I kept trying and trying to access the other one, and I couldn't. So then uh, I called the company called Nixit to help me. And he
How
said
did you
that
find, how'd you find Nixit? Because
I Googled it on
already,
my phone. I got on my phone and Googled
okay,
Facebook recovery or something like that.
okay.
And I looked for one with a phone number so I could talk to someone because, I didn't grow up with computers. So
And
it
that's
feels
okay.
it
Yeah.
feels awkward anyway, to try to solve issues. But so then he, on the phone with me, which he may call while we're meeting today, I don't
Okay.
know.
That's
But
okay.
he took remote control of my computer.
Mm.
I gave him access and he said, "This is a bad case." So they're what they did was they infiltrated me. Then they went to the dark web and sold my information. So people are watching porn on my name and who knows what else they're doing. So he said this is a really bad case. They're running your computer. So then he started running the program to repair it.
Good.
And he spent 8 hours and still it wasn't all the way clear. So he told me, leave your computer up and on, and we'll start again in the morning. So
Was that
I will,
yesterday? Was that
that,
yesterday?
that was,
Was it Saturday?
yes, that would be Sunday,
Oh my gosh.
yesterday. And
Wow.
so I woke up and I saw, I woke up like at 5:30. We were supposed to meet at 7, but my sleep is disrupted, my eating is disrupted, everything's disrupted.
And tell me
It's
about your
horrible.
stomach. Your stomach, what's going on there?
It's just that I can't eat. Nothing tastes good, nothing. I have no appetite. I have to make myself eat. Food doesn't even taste good.
Do
It's
you feel
weird.
any pain in your pain points in your stomach?
No, I don't really have pain, just oozy, like it's
Oh,
not good.
yeah, I hear you.
Not
And that
really
probably,
nauseous, but on the way to nauseous, maybe.
I hear you. And there's probably something going on in your stomach that is oozing.
Right,
You probably described it really accurately. Maybe
right.
one day we'll find out. But one other thing I wanted to ask is you said they're selling some things of yours. They got,
My That was the post that showed up on Facebook. I'm glad you did not receive it. But the post that showed up on Facebook said, and I've seen it before myself. My sister-in-law is in trouble. She needs some money. These items are for sale, in a bunch of pictures of items that you could buy. That's what they posted because they try to get money. They're trying to get money. And they don't really even have these items. They sell them to you and then you don't get them. And you gave them your credit card information, so who knows what they do with that.
Did this guy advise you to stop any of your credit cards?
I did. Well, the funny thing is, there was a funny thing. Uh, they were
Glad to
cussing me
hear it.
out. Sunday morning, they were cussing me out through my Google search bar, which was, they were typing to me in that. I didn't have control of my mouse. I couldn't, go shut down. I finally turned it off with the button, even though
Yeah.
Mike told me, leave it on because we'll be running this diagnostic. But I shut it down with the
Oh,
button and then, but yeah, they sell your information to the dark web. Is That's how Mike explained it.
so what have you learned for those of us that don't know much about the dark web, like me? I mean, I know it's there, but I haven't dealt with it. I pray none of us, and I pray you're done dealing with it. But what is the dark web?
I don't really know. I don't know. I just know that it's where creeps go and do creepy things.
Well, that's a really good way to explain it because it's where people can go that they know they can be illegal. They can get
Right.
things illegally. They can sell things illegally. They can take your identity. Oh my
Right.
God. Do you
Yeah.
feel you're
So
being, yeah, go ahead,
I
hon.
want to
So
tell you
what's,
about the funny part
yeah,
because
that's important.
I woke up and at 5:30 and I was just looking at the computer. That's all I've done is looked at my computer for like 4 days now.
That's unhealthy.
But
Yeah.
but it it was a woman and I wrote down her name and she was sending herself money on my PayPal. But the funny thing was, which when she found out, she started cussing me out. Uh, the two cards that were attached to my PayPal were not active. I haven't used PayPal, so they were inactive cards. I had changed both cards. I lost my ATM card one time, so they changed it. And then I had a fraudulent charge on my credit card, and they changed it. So neither card would work.
Good. Thank God. Oh my God.
That was a good thing. And
So she's
what
cursing you out. What does she say? I mean, not in
you
her language, but what is she
you
cursing
are
you
an
for?
effing bitch. I can't believe it. I want $50,000. I'm a hacker. You can't block me. Just all kinds of, mean, nasty things. That's when I hit the power button to turn it off because that's what
Yeah.
really was triggering, calling me names and oh,
Oh my God.
the whole
Do
thing has
we,
been a
do
nightmare.
you, it sounds like a horrible nightmare. I'm really sorry. I'm really glad you can talk about it. Thank you for bringing it here. So when that worst of the trauma, she started cursing you out and making it really personal and being crazy. It wasn't just, it was cursing you out. It was making it about you, the bad guy, and she's trying to mess with you. And the other thing is she's being crazy. Who the hell are you to stop me from stealing $50,000 from you?
Right. Which I don't even have $50,000. So, I mean, good luck with that.
But you
It
know what I
has,
want to go ahead.
it did cost me $599 to buy this new protection and to clean up the computer.
I know it's worth it, but that's not what you have extra right
Right.
now, you know?
No, I have no
Yeah.
extra right now, but I had to do it.
Yes,
I
you
live on
did.
This is where how I live.
This is how you connect. This is so important. Oh my God. So tell us, you don't have to remember this or think about it if it's too uncomfortable a question, but I'm wondering if you can just take us back to when it was, what happened inside of you, Denise, where you knew, I gotta push the button. This is what I can't do this. I can't do this no more. Because we were sticking it out before talking with this, what was the guy's name? Bill?
Mike is the solution guy, and I don't know the name of the hacker. And
Okay.
actually, this was like a bonus hacker, and she was a woman. She was a woman from Italy, which PayPal doesn't send money to Italy. So she must not have been a very smart hacker, but um, her name was Yerilyn something, Ruiz, and she was the one that was trying to get into my PayPal.
God. So that maybe they sell information on you on the dark web, including information about your PayPal, so somebody could buy that.
Right.
Somebody could buy your credit card. Somebody could
And
buy
then,
your
right.
identity. Oh,
And then
geez,
they
this is
and then they try to you know, like some people are smart about this kind of hacking, some people are smart about this kind of hacking. So people buy the information that they know how to hack you further, for take people's money. They have gotten into people's bank accounts and whatnot, which then I had to freeze my checking account, and I put a highlight on my credit card to watch.
good. Good. Have you thought of calling the police or any state authority?
No, I haven't thought of that.
Okay. I don't know if that's necessary or not, but it might be a
I could
way of,
ask Mike about that when he calls back because he's waiting for me for my Facebook to get back up. Because when you send this video of yourself,
and
it
you're doing
takes
that
30.
because they need to see every view of your face.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
They you can tell I'm a tactile learner. I have to do it.
Yeah, I got it.
They uh I forgot what I was saying.
Oh, you're talking about having to give them this information, like about your face, because if they try to hack into credit
Oh yeah.
card,
It takes 36 to 48 hours for Facebook to authenticate your identity. So Mike, has cleared them off my computer, and he's, then tried to repair my Facebook. But Facebook takes 36 to 48 hours.
oh,
So that's what I'm waiting for now.
so it was all through Facebook that they entered.
I'm not sure. I am not sure. I think so. That was the first thing that they tried to fool around with. They changed my picture right away, and they posted these ads in hundreds, shared it 100 times in all my groups that I belong to, and uh, and those were the original hackers, I think. And then this woman, Yerlin from Italy, she, I think, was a bonus hacker.
Congratulations, girl.
Got double hacked
Man,
because the original
wow.
hackers were from Nicaragua.
How do you know that? Is that what,
He knew it. Yeah, he was able, he knows how to work the computer so that he can see whatever was done.
okay.
And since the time period that I told him, you know, because it's all bits and bytes or bytes and mites or whatever they are, it's all stored on your computer. So he was able to figure that out.
So tell me if you can, what's been going on inside your body? You can't eat. you feel oozing inside. But when you found out that these guys were like really invasive, really violative of your privacy, what led you to say, I'm gonna push this button down? I'm gonna stop this.
The cuss words, my brain just said stop.
Yep.
And I hit the button, and then I called Bank of America because I thought it was Mike that was the head, like I thought maybe I got a hacker for my repair. So I got confused that it was him and that he was not a good man. I started sending him messages, and he's like, wait a minute, wait a minute. That's not me. And then he was able to get back on the computer because I had turned him off. So he talked me through it and told me what was happening and got reconnected and then showed me who it was and, you know, that was trying to get my PayPal. And
Could you actually see that people were from Nicaragua?
I didn't see that. I saw her face though. It was her face on the request for money or the sending money.
She put her face as if it were your face.
No, she put it as she sent herself money through me. So her face showed up when that's who she was sending money to.
Could you see anything in her face? Not that I'm asking you to recall
No,
it, but
no,
good.
she didn't look evil by any means. But yeah, she tried a few times while I was watching. I even wrote Mike because I had Mike on the phone. I even wrote to him, "Why are you sending Geraldine $100 on my PayPal? Why are you?" Because I thought it was him. You know,
Yeah.
it confused me when they took control of my mouse. I could not use my pad. I could not use my touch screen.
And it feels really weird. You're talking about being a kinesthetic learner because sensory person, because I have a business, what's it called? Best Buy. And I have them sweep through my computer periodically when things get backed up. And what they do is exactly what you're talking about. I give them a consent. I don't have to, I choose to go through this consent process. And then I see on the screen that they're moving the cursor,
Right,
that they're moving all this stuff. And if I try just naturally, spontaneously to do something, I can't. And it
right.
feels really out of control. And I
It
think
is
that's
right.
key
That is
for
that
trauma
loss of
survivors.
control. Oh, feels horrible. I I had to cancel my Best Buy subscription because I wasn't working for it, a year and a half. So I did not renew it. So that's why I looked online, and probably it would cost me that, not $600, but it would cost me probably $300 to go over there and reinstate it and have them work on it. So
Jeez, a crow. So where you are right now is it's going to take up to another maybe 30, 38 hours for Facebook to be cleaned up. So it's your Facebook returning.
right, well, so I have access to it. Then I can go there and delete the posts that they made and make an announcement. I'm sorry if I hope that no one was hurt by this. And
I'm thinking of it now. There's a guy in the city where I live. He's a good guy. And he posted, I was looking for a used car. And he posted this thing about my aunt is having to be put away. Not he didn't put it quite so crassly, but my aunt is going to a nursing home and she has all these properties and things she needs to sell. And so I'm selling them for her at a really inexpensive price. And so I said, wait a minute, there's a Honda for like one third the amount of money. And I trusted this guy.
right, and
But
people trust me.
that's right, Denise. The people will trust you. And so they'll say, well, this must be legitimate. I wouldn't have Denise's name on it. It wouldn't have
Right,
had this guy's name on it. So I texted, and of course I got in touch with the hackers. When I texted, I was basically questioning I didn't like the response I got. So I turned to him. I contacted him by email and I said, "What's going on?" And he said, just like you, ah, I was hacked. These people posted pictures of cars, of swimming
Yeah, no,
pools. Jeez.
one of my fake posts was about musical instruments because people have been calling me, when they see that I'm wasn't that when they tried to
Sure.
contact me on Facebook, I wasn't of you can't even search my name. I don't show up. And so people called me, on the telephone and said, "What's going on?" And so at least, people care. I did get that positive feedback, but I just hope no one sent them money. And, that's my biggest worry. And, who they created like four other Denise Rokicki Facebook accounts, which I don't see how that could be helpful to them, but apparently they use it for porn.
What's the benefit of porn? They must make money somehow out of porn.
Or maybe they just are, wanting to view it while they hack. I don't know.
Oh, I don't know. I don't
But
know.
that's disturbing too, because, porn.
Right. If anybody pulls that up, it's like when I've had bombers that are bringing porn in. It just violates everything all of a sudden. And it also is designed to violate every one of our senses. It's noise, it's light, it's saying our name, it's images coming really fast, like the ones that are traumatizing images. I think that they're pretty damn cognizant about what trauma is about because they know how to stimulate it.
Right,
What I'm talking about here is I have some group trauma recovery groups I'm in, and we're listed as an international trauma recovery place, as a safe place. And in the past, we would list how to get to the site for the meeting, and then all of a sudden, we started having these horrible, horrible bombers, Zoom bombers, and
right,
it took weeks, if not months, to figure out how to stop it. What did we have to do? And the people that were really computer savvy, one guy's an engineer, and so that's he's really a nerd. So that was his thing. And it took him months to get down to what it
right,
was. And then we talked with people in um, other groups of survivors and said, "What are you doing?" We haven't had a Zoom bomber in probably half a year. But I tell
right,
you, when all of a sudden, instead of me looking at you, all of a sudden I'm seeing this guy masturbating. And then my name is going, Holly, like several times. The first time that happened, I said to everybody, I gotta go. I can't take this because it was getting right in, like you said, got
right,
right inside me. It reminded me of all those movies like Manchurian Candidate, all those movies where people who are captured by the enemy get brainwashed and it invades our body. Now, Denise, you and I, look, if you're willing to talk about it, and don't if you're not, but as a person who had my body violated, when I feel unsafe physically, my body takes over to protect me.
right. All I want to do is sleep. I wake up tired, then I, been taking a nap every couple hours, and then I wake up tired, and I just don't want to. I was supposed to march in the Old West
Oh,
End parade on Saturday, and I couldn't go.
oh, and
I
that's so, like what can I say? It gives you energy.
Right, it's my community service. I was going to carry a sign that says Black Lives Matter, protect immigrants.
Yes,
What about LA right now? It's devastating. And that's on top of this, it's like it's too much.
it is, Denise.
Oh,
It is. I'm sorry that you're facing both of those because, again, as a trauma survivor, it's hard for me not to feel Los Angeles. It was hard for me not to feel the Twin Towers. It's
right,
hard for me not to feel when a school gets, oh my God, Newtown.
right,
You must have just died, the little
right.
kids. Oh my
Yeah.
God. And
Yeah, I lived in LA. I protested in LA, in 1999, 98 maybe. Uh,
mhm,
you know, I could be considered a what insurrectionist back then. That's what Donald Trump is trying to say, that these people are
yes.
insurrectionists.
And the great it's not even irony because he's so overt about his lawlessness, his abuse. He is the insurrectionist.
Right.
He's the insurrectionist. He
The
is the felon. He all this stuff, it got shut down by him, but the stuff that was able to come out said this guy planned it and he encouraged everybody. He paid for the hotel rooms for the Proud Boys. He did
right,
all this stuff. He's an insurrectionist. And now what he's doing is punishing people who are using their First Amendment rights,
right.
taking that away and calling them insurrectionists. And that's part of the trauma bond because I I think it's true for you, but you'll have to say for me, I was blamed as a kid, a child, I was blamed for everything. I never thought it was my mother's fault. I never thought it was my father's fault. I always thought I'm doing something. I'm so bad. You ought to be ashamed of yourself. You ought to, what's wrong with you? Can't you get anything right? I assumed it was me. So when something goes wrong like this in the country at the same time it's going wrong personally,
Yeah,
I think we need a word for that. But what would we call it? It's like a double whammy for sure, double
yeah,
trauma whammy
right.
because it's not safe.
And not only that, my housemate was telling me she read an article from our newspaper, which is The Blade, where this woman was living in an abandoned house for maybe a week with her four children. And police went and arrested her and took the children to Child Protective Services. And they're charging her with endangerment. Why didn't they take her to a hotel so they could have a bath and a
Some
shower
food.
and some food? So
So
it's
they
just
separated the family.
like
OMG.
once one thing happened, then this, then that. Oh, it just feels like I'm overwhelmed.
Sweetheart, I was Zooming yesterday with a dear friend and also a trauma survivor in Africa. And I noticed she was doing all of these things with her hair and with her body that she doesn't usually do. And I didn't want to call it because I didn't want to cause her to feel like she was doing anything wrong. But after we had talked for a while and it was becoming clear what was going on, I said, sweetheart, I'd like to share something with you. She said, okay. I said, just something I've noticed that you're touching your body in ways that I haven't seen you do in years. And she said, yeah. And she was re-triggered too. A woman chewed her out in front of everybody professionally. These are all professional people, chewed her out, and then chewed out another person. So the other person buckled and said, okay, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. Now that's re-triggering to
Right,
a friend and to me because that's what a child learns. Oh, you know, I deserve your abuse. I deserve this. You wouldn't be doing
right.
it to me if I
Yeah, I
didn't.
thought it was my obligation as the oldest daughter.
And I thought it was my duty because it was what my father
Demanded.
did. He just did it. It was his right. I mean, there was never any statement about this is what's going to happen. It was just he 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 owned and ruled that household, and whatever he wanted to do, he could do. And what happened within the four walls didn't go outside the four walls.
Right.
So I kept it inside my four walls and it messed me up physically. I mean, I love me some sugar. I can go right back into that sugar addiction for a brief high, but I also feel better when I'm away from it.
Right.
So Denise, I'm sorry. Let's look at this from you as a person that's invested so much healing energy in yourself.
So
And
I'll tell you what I
yeah,
did, what
yeah,
practices I used to help me be go through this. I got out all my crystals. I have one special crystal that is to get rid of bad things. It's got a bunch of points on it and like a little button in the back. And I put that on my computer. I lit candles. I burned sage to go away anything bad. Then, when I started doubting if Mike was really a good guy or if he was another bad guy, I
yeah,
asked my intuition to please let me know if Mike is good or bad. And then I went outside to smoke a cigarette, and all these birds, a red-headed woodpecker, three ducks, a bunch of birds came to tell me that he's a good
okay,
guy. And like this morning, I started to feel a little better yesterday when I knew that they couldn't get me anymore. But when but I still feel, not like myself yet, you know. So
and how,
I did yoga this morning,
good,
20-minute yoga to just to help me, And
yeah,
those are the coping skills that I employed. I've drank a lot of water. I have been
good,
able to keep the water going.
good.
Another
Tell me
bad
about
thing,
your,
the
yeah,
day
go
that
ahead.
I the day that I realized I was, I woke up at 6:30 or whatever. They had the morning that they actually hacked me and took control of my computer. I that usually I wake up, do a couple things, then make my coffee. So I was following my routine, and when I tried to make the coffee, and I use a French press, it squirted out, and all
The
the
coffee grounds.
the coffee
Oh,
ground squirted out the top and got all in the coffee, and the coffee was horrible.
mm,
Oh, it was a
oh my
night.
God.
I was able to do my story times on Friday, and that is helpful.
Well, good for you. How did you get there and leave this?
I just
Oh,
went on cruise control, uh,
yeah,
and actually forgot part of the toys because on
that's
Fridays
okay.
I bring toys to introduce the kids because it could be anybody, strangers. So I bring this bucket full of cars that we play with on the floor, and I forgot those, so I had to turn around and come and get them. And so I wasn't fully myself, but just being in the presence of children, innocent children who are not going to do anything to attack me or hurt me or take my money.
And their parents were there and their parents brought them because they love the kids. It's not
Right,
like these are
right.
abusive
It's a beautiful
parents.
thing. So I did do both of my Friday sessions,
Good.
and
Were you able to eat that day? Because when you're doing that work, it's important.
I actually the second Big B's, the first Big B's gives me a pound of coffee. The second Big B's gives me one of their sandwiches before I leave,
Mm.
and I couldn't eat it. I put
Um,
it in the refrigerator, and but later I was able to eat one of. It was a little. They're called pretzel sliders.
oh yeah,
I
they're
was
small, but that
Yeah,
yeah.
but I was able to eat one. Then I put the other one back in the fridge, and that was all I ate. Then the next day I didn't eat anything. Saturday, I was just so upset about the parade too. I really wanted to march in that parade, and
And why is marching in a parade so uplifting to you as a trauma survivor?
well, I've because I am here, I am safe. Look at me. and I care about other people, black people and brown people. I'm able to say that.
So you're able to have your voice, you're able to say it out loud, you're able to take a stand publicly, you can be out publicly about this. And the other thing is, because of the mirror neuron stuff where we feel each other, to be
Right,
with people that are equally supportive, to march
right,
with them,
right. This is a
it's
liberal
healing.
area of town. Everyone is, happy with gay people and happy with brown people and happy with black people. It's really the only day in Toledo that everybody's out in mass on the streets, and the black people and the white people are smiling at each other. And I love that. That
So important.
it makes me so happy because Toledo is not the, warm and huggiest place around between the races due to police brutality, for one thing. And so that's just the one day that people are good to each other, no matter what. That we're all
And,
neighbors here.
and that matters so much.
And it does. It matters to me, and it makes me feel like I'm back in 1973 when everything was going to be good.
We thought it was, we hoped it would be.
Right.
Then
But
came Watergate.
right. Richard Nixon.
But we got rid of him. I mean, he was at least lawful enough to know that he had to resign.
Right. This guy won't.
No, no, no. His thing is all about gathering more and more power and taking more and more power away.
And his
And
followers crave violence. They crave violence against who they think is taking their jobs away, or I don't know what they think, but they don't want those jobs standing in the fields picking cotton or whatever.
I'm sorry to say this, but they want. Oops. I'll have to call you back. Please leave me a message. Call got through. The psychology that I've studied now about insiders and outsiders and about why this different groups of people can be shown the same facts. It's like being shown the facts. Donald Trump was convicted of 34 felony counts. And one group would say, we can't have a felon running for president. Where's the law on that? Well, this is outrageous. And another group says, he stood up, he did what he thought was right. Look at that bitch.
Right. It's because people are harassing him because the lawyers are being mean to him. That's really what my brother believes.
It's a witch hunt.
Right.
I mean, I haven't heard the term witch hunt until Trump says it all the time.
Right.
But that's his illness, the narcissistic personality disorder. What is it? Anyway, that's just part of his illness, but his illness allows him to blame everybody else. When on earth has that sick person ever taken responsibility?
Never.
Hillary, MSNBC did it. Biden's been dead since 2020.
Right.
Girl, how can we I was watching MSNBC and they said, how can the press allow a president to say that and not question his sanity?
Right.
Biden's been dead? It's because the more the world becomes, here it is about trauma, Denise, the more he can be in an insane world, the more control he has. And
Right.
the less guardrails, the less boundaries, the more lawless we are, the more he can
Right. The
take
more chaos.
chaos. Yeah, and the law would say to be arbitrary and capricious. He can be arbitrary and capricious all he wants to. They knew when they sent that the father from, I forget where it was from, the guy Kilmar, forgetting his
North
name.
Carolina, maybe? I'm not sure.
Well, maybe, yeah, the guy that had kids and everything, and they said he didn't do
He's
anything.
back, but he's in jail.
He's back and he's in jail, and the alleged, this pisses me off.
They're
The
making
alleged,
more crimes, right?
right? I mean, the alleged attorney for the United States of America people. She doesn't represent you. She doesn't represent me. She represents Donald Trump. She's not his attorney. She's our attorney. But I watch her with a plain white face, such a white face and blonde hair, saying, he was a wrongdoer. He was trafficking women. He was, come on, come on. Where did you pump that up in the meantime? They
Right.
had showed him the knuckles. He allegedly had that gang thing. It was totally photoshopped.
Right.
So it's lawlessness, Denise. And let's talk about this as trauma survivors, because it got through to your body.
Right.
What do you think it was that, well, let me ask you a couple things. I know you work really hard to take care of yourself. So you've already said you went to work with the kids twice. You did that well. They gave you a slider to eat. You ate, you took it home, but you ate part of it. That's all good. You sought help and you knew, and many of people listening are going to get this, you knew you had to talk with somebody.
Right.
Couldn't trust what was online. So you looked through and waded through until you found a number and you could call somebody. Then you're taking naps because your body is so smashed upside itself.
Yes.
You're taking naps. You're getting out your crystals. You're going outside. I assume you've told your housemate.
Yeah. Yeah.
And is she being real supportive?
Yeah. She's very supportive. Yeah.
Yeah.
She's awesome. And, she's sorry it happened. And actually, she started trying to see what the hackers were doing. You know, she's the one that found, because she went and looked for my page and found those items for sale. One was pianos and musical instruments, and the other was like cars and stuff out of the garage, and yeah, she found that and she wrote to them and said, "You're a hacker. Please stop." Then she put, "Denise is being hacked," and they erased that.
Good. I mean, sorry that they erased it, but she wrote it there.
Yeah. Yeah, and then they got wind of her, and so then they unfriended her on my Facebook so that she couldn't find me.
Man, they know all these tricks.
Right.
And now that's another trauma survivor thing, because I felt as a 2-year-old, 3-year-old, 7-year-old, 8-year-old, I felt that the adults had all the power.
Yeah.
They not just knew what they could do, but they could tell me what I couldn't do, and they could enforce anything they wanted. They could hurt me so badly that I would want to just keel over. They would, the sexual abuse was so insane. I don't know if I don't want to say this because it might become true, but there are some things I truly can't remember because it's just too unbearable. I remember some of the smells related. I remember some of the feel of the fabric related. I remember the feelings inside of me. But there's some things, all I can get an image of is like one quick image, and that alarms me so much
Right.
that I don't want to go back there. And
Which that's your subconscious trying to
taking care of,
protect you. Yeah.
yes, it is. And it did that for years. I couldn't remember the sexual abuse for decades. I couldn't. And if I had been able to, I might have had a better chance having relationships, because sexuality being part of relationships,
Right.
I didn't know why I was all of a sudden not trusting, or why did I feel unsafe, or, it wasn't a healthy thing. But I didn't know. The thing is, I knew, but I couldn't let myself know.
Right.
So where do we go for safe? Now I'm going to say this to everybody who's listening, because I just went on one of my sites, 18 people watched last week just from that one place. So people that are listening, wherever you're tuning in from, we're talking here as two trauma survivors walking each other home. Denise has just been re-traumatized terribly, and she's still in the middle of it. And she has the courage to come here and talk about it. And Denise, where are you getting the courage from to come here? Because you could have said, Holly, I can't do this program today.
Right. I did cancel my tutoring this morning because I just
Okay,
couldn't, because I'm waiting for a call from the guy too, you know?
worse,
And
right.
right. And then I usually my other trauma group that I belong to from the AOL days,
That's also
that's
back on Monday, right?
right, and that's on at 6 o'clock, which I had to cancel that because we do that on Facebook, which I don't even know if she knows yet. I sent her an email and I sent her a phone message, but she hasn't gotten back. So I don't know if she knows yet that I'm not going to go to that group because it's on Facebook, is how we do it. So, and I
Well, you
can't
did
get
the,
on Facebook.
no, you
So
can't, but you did the best you could. And if
I
she
did.
looks for you at 6 and she doesn't see you, she can check her other
Right,
point of touch and she'll see you've sent 2 messages and she'll
right.
get it. She'll
Yeah.
get it.
But what the I just know I have to do as many normal things as possible. And uh this is, both comforting and it's my routine and it's it's not on Facebook, so I could do it. So there were not the obstacles were I don't feel like it, but I know that I need to. I know that it's going to be helpful.
You're right. And it takes courage. I mean, it just takes courage for us to show up to do this program.
Right. Right.
We're so
We don't
used to,
even realize that, most people can't talk about their abuse like we do. And most people can't talk about how it's hurt them and how it affects their daily life nowadays. They don't even know. Some people don't even know how it's affecting their daily lives. So
I mean,
but
right.
I just want, I want to be out there so that they know they can talk too.
Yeah, I think you're doing a courageous thing. And I'm really grateful that we're able to talk about it here because trauma is like Lyme disease. I've never said that before, but I've had Lyme disease. I don't think you have, right?
Uh-uh.
So, it's tick-borne, which is really scary
Right. It
because,
comes in
yeah,
waves, just comes over you. I have a
it's,
very friend that has Lyme disease. She still gets episodes because she didn't
yeah,
catch it. Doctors were like, eh.
yeah, I have a wife of a friend of mine, and I know the wife, I like her too, but I know him better. She got Lyme disease, and the doctors didn't identify it as Lyme disease.
Mm-mm.
So they started treating her for other things. And by the time they caught on, it had become part of her system. It's in there. And
And
she
that's
has to like watch everything all the time. Me, I just had it for, I mean, I was out, remember, how I can remember trauma now because I can remember trauma now because I have the more inner strength and stuff to deal with it. I remember swimming in a lake in Vermont by myself. So I took one of those noodles with me. I'd gone for a walk and I started feeling achy during the walk. I said, well, I'll just swim, because I walk and then I get hot and then I swim. I got out in the middle of the lake and I was so grateful I had that noodle because I couldn't swim. I had to slowly doggy paddle my way back. And then I had trouble getting out of the lake. And all I wanted to do was just go back to the cottage I was renting and rest. And in those days in Vermont, when I was like on vacation, I'd hike, I'd do all I had to eat. I was like you, I wasn't hungry at all.
right.
And I didn't, some people would call that night. I just didn't pick up the phone. The next day, I left Vermont and I went toward Massachusetts. I had an appointment with my trauma counselor that I didn't cancel, and thank God for that, because when I was on my way, I called my doc and I said, I am so sick. I described what was going on. My temperature go from here to here. I was in my car in the hot summer. I turn on the, sometimes I'd have to turn on the heat. Sometimes I'd have to blast the AC, sometimes both. Anyway, why I'm saying that this being hacked is like Lyme disease is this. Lyme disease, the virus, goes for the weakest part of the human body's system. So
Right.
wherever I have arthritis, the Lyme disease virus went right in there, and my back ached unmercifully. My knees ached unmercifully. My hands just ached. My neck ached. All of the places, stomach, back, my shoulders, all the places where the vulnerability was,
Right.
that's where the Lyme disease went. It's just like being hacked. All the places where you're most vulnerable financially, your identity, your connection with the world, your dear friends, your reputation, all of this stuff. It's like the disease goes right into
Right.
that.
Right.
And these guys are like, the dark web is about doing everything in the darkness where nobody can see. And a
Right.
lot of clandestine stuff is done there. Now, that just saying it that way, I want to ask you, how does this remind you of your trauma as a kid?
Yeah. I was, I'm traumatized again. And, I have more coping skills now, and I have bravery and I have intelligence. And so hopefully will continue to improve as I get access back to my identity.
And here's something really
It's 4:01,
crucial.
by the way.
Oh, okay, thanks, sweetie. What's really crucial is, as trauma surviving children, we were not allowed our identity as children. I was an object to be used by my father. You were an object to be used.
You're right. Our innocence was taken. And, here on Facebook, I feel all safe, and my innocence of safety, or I don't know what not safety, but yeah, it is my safety, was taken
You
away.
had boundaries, girl. You had boundaries, you had protection, you had predictability, you had networks to people that you would never have been able to have otherwise.
Right.
And those are all taken away, which is why I'm really proud of you for showing up here, because it's not easy to show your face. One of the
Right.
things I used
Yeah,
to
I
do
didn't
as a
want to.
child
I did
was,
not feel like it. Right. I did not feel like coming, but I, made myself, just like I made myself. I think it was Sunday. I didn't eat Saturday at all. And Sunday, I made myself a can of Progresso vegetarian vegetable soup. It's disgusting. Do not. I got it at the food pantry, so but I wouldn't buy it. But I couldn't even. I could only eat like half of it. It was like more disgusting than it normally is. And
but
then
at least you were willing to have food, and you were willing to
right,
fix
that
the
was
food, and you're
Saturday
willing
actually.
to
Because
heat it.
Sunday I
Okay,
got up and I fixed myself breakfast. I made 2 eggs, 2 sausage, some tater tots, and a toast with
good, good,
strawberry
good.
jam. I just knew I
You
did
were
that.
okay.
I
Yeah.
couldn't eat it all. I put half
Okay.
of it back in the fridge, but I at least ate it, and I took the effort to make food and eat it.
So, sweetie, as we wrap, two trauma survivors walking each other home, and God bless you. Hello to the people that are with us that are just tuning in. if you understand what we're talking about, thank you.
Yep.
If this is new to you, thank you for listening. Thank you for wanting to understand what it's like. And I want to conclude by asking Denise, what is it? You've stated a number of these things that you can feel good about yourself. What I want to ask you is, you're not that 11-year-old child. You're not that girl. You're not that 4-year-old that discovered your dad dead.
Right.
You are now 60 something,
67.
67, and
Well, I'll
you
be
have,
67 in September.
all right, girl. And you've had 30, at least 32, if not more years working in a profession that's really crucial, and learning and working at the same time. And now you get hit again, and it feels like a hit. You get betrayed again. You get violated. That's the word you used, was violated
Violated.
again, and invaded. Invaded. And tell us as survivors, what can you rely upon now as we leave this program that you couldn't have relied upon 60 years ago, 64 years ago, even 20 years ago? That
That
you
there
know,
is help. There is
yes,
help. I can reach out for help,
mhm,
and I can practice my things that I practice that help me feel like a 66-year-old woman. I can practice the things that make me feel safe. And if that's going to sleep for 2 hours, I'm doing it right now.
that's
I'm
right.
giving myself that. And I, I, for the last few days, I've been taking 2-hour naps a lot, and
Yeah,
I'm still sleeping all night, but I don't wake up rested. I wake up tired. So hopefully this will pass. I trust
it
that this
will.
too will pass, and that
Mhm,
I will keep eating just a little bit every day, at
mhm.
least,
You
until,
will.
yeah. And I'm going to be okay. I know I'm going to be okay in the end.
Yes, you are. And you've got this guy who is helping, and you can also ask him for other helpers. Fred Rogers said, when there's a crisis, look for the helpers. Who's helping? You could ask him, if I report this to the local authorities, to whom do I report it?
Right.
Because it would be really good to know. And it would also be counter the conditioning we had as children to not tell anybody. Don't you dare tell anybody about this.
Right.
But if this, you could be part of a pattern. What are they doing? Are they after 60-year-old women on Facebook? Are they after people that have PayPal accounts? Who knows? But the police
Right.
might know more. So, yeah, when you find out about that, let us know.
Yes, I will.
And yeah, so now are you planning to eat anything today?
Yes, I do. I have a chicken burrito.
And that's something you like, so you'll
Right. And
want to
it's
eat it.
small. It's a small thing. So just know, it doesn't make me sick thinking about eating a lot. Uh,
Right.
that it counteracts those icky feelings in my stomach.
And my take on icky feelings is that we took on everybody's shame that people that are abusers cannot feel. They act shamelessly because they don't feel ashamed of what they're doing, but they project all of that awful shame onto us. And I felt it was my duty, even though I didn't even know what the hell I was doing, to take on my father's burdens for him. He was
Right.
obviously a suffering man, or he wouldn't be doing this. And he was hurting so badly. And the Catholic faith says you offer it up, you go through whatever you
Right.
got to go through. Look at
Turn
Jesus
the
went,
other cheek.
turn the other cheek and offer it up, and don't ask for much.
Right.
All that shit that kept us survivors, not thrivers. And
Right.
that's not what it's about. So, my friend, I want to congratulate you and thank you for being brave enough to talk about this, brave enough to continue to go through it, brave enough to take care of yourself in the midst of this. And you know what? Reach out anytime. Now that I know fully what's going on, I'll be glad to be here. And tonight at 6:30, I have a trauma survivors group. So if you want to join, please do, because the other person, your group at 6 isn't going to work. But anyway, just to let you know, there are groups all over the place that and
Right.
helps everywhere. When do you see your personal counselor?
I don't go to a counselor anymore. I don't have one now, right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. Well, I'm sure that there were very good reasons you made to do
Right.
it that way.
Yeah.
I gotcha. Okay, my friend. So what's one next thing you can do to help yourself feel like
Refill
you're
my
true
water,
self?
refill my water jug.
Yep. Oh yeah, it's getting down there.
It's almost done.
Is it dark there in Toledo?
Not yet. No, it takes till like about 9 o'clock now.
We've had so much rain here, not a complaint because my gardens are doing great. I planted seeds and the next day they sprouted.
Wow.
And hey, I thought that was a miracle. I think 9 years ago when my sister died in Westerville, Ohio, I came back and I did a victory garden that I dedicated to her and I planted all these seeds. And when I went out the next morning and they were up green, I call it Karen's miracle. I just thought this is, her spirit has visited. Somehow this garden's been visited. So when I went back and I saw the next morning and all these sprouts were up, I mean,
Heaven.
heaven. But I've got trauma going on there too. And it's causing me a similar stuff. For me, the pain in my stomach is kind of, it's in one particular place. So I can rub that or I can tap. I have unconditional love and acceptance of myself and go through that which I do. But you know what? Yesterday I did two things in the morning. And then I said, gotta sleep. My son wanted to see me. I said, Cole, I can't do it. I gotta sleep. I can tell just talking about this gave me hiccups. So I'm gonna take a break. I will see you next week. I'm gonna send positive healing energy. And next week we'll have our friend Priscilla.
Priscilla, right.
Well, which will be fun to talk about trauma bonding, which is what
Right.
we're trying to face and not have it take over. So girl, you're doing well, and please take care of those little girls inside of you that might be scared.
Yep.
They have a right to be scared.
They do.
A right to cry. They have a right to stomp their feet, whatever they need to do. You know how to do that.
Yep. And pass right through the shame.
Got it.
When the shame comes, I just let it go. Yep. Because it wasn't me. I didn't do anything wrong.
I'm here and I'm safe and it wasn't me. You got it, girl. Okay, so we'll stop the program and peace out. And trauma survivors, you're going to be okay. It's not always easy.
Okay. Yep.
It's not always easy. Okay, so you want to stop recording? The answer is